Okay, we'll take a couple of questions from the Mondays.
Ralf, obviously you were missing a lot of strikers today, either through injury, illness or other reasons. Obviously game you need to win at home and you've elected to go with two midfielders up front again as you did against City. Is that a reflection of just how poor Marcus's form is and how low his confidence is that he can't get in the team still even in that scenario?
Well, look, the question for us until 10 minutes before the training session yesterday, for me, it was clear that we play with Cristiano up front and with three central midfielders. But then I became the information that Cristiano doesn't feel well and that he will probably be out for the game. And then the question was, what are we going to do? Do we play with Marcus as a central striker and drop one of our central midfielders, or do we rather play with Bruno as a false 9 plus Paul on 8? I don't think that this had any effect on the rhythm of the game in the first half, but when we realized after 60 minutes or after 55 minutes that we need a goal, we brought on Marcus for Scotty. He had a yellow card. Otherwise, I wouldn't have taken him off, but with a yellow card, I think it was the right decision to take him off. Marcus, I mean, it's no secret. He's not having his very best time right now. It has to do with rhythm. It has to do with confidence as well. But again, it's our job to help him to get back this confidence, and that's why I decided to bring him on in the last 60 minutes.
How do you as a coach lift him, Ralf? Is it up to you personally, or is it your staff or the players? Do they have to help Marcus as well?
In the end, he has to do it himself, obviously, but the only thing that we can do is speak with him regularly, tell him what we expect from him, what he should do. But the rest has to be done by himself. And I think there are quite a few examples this season of players. Some of them are still here with us, and one or two of them are no longer here, who showed that it is possible to develop within a couple of weeks a level of confidence where you can be a different player again. We all know that Marcus can play better, but again, in the end, the steps he has to take himself.
Right, the players here are clearly talented, technically good players. So does it therefore come down to character and mentality and mindset that they cannot get this team on a winning run, win these kind of games and get any kind of consistency? Does it come down to that aspect of the character, I guess?
I never doubt or question the character of players, and so far from what I have seen in the last couple of weeks and months, I don't think that we have a lack of character. But what was obvious in some parts of the game again today is that we were second best with regard to physicality. When it was about one-on-one duels, we spoke about that counter-attacking moment that we had ourselves, where they tackled us away twice within 2 seconds. And the same is true in quite a few other moments. Whenever there was body contact, we were too often second best today. And this is something where we have to get better at for the rest of this season, but even more so for the next season.
Isn't that coming out Bruno then? Bruno seems to sort of jump out of that challenge with Hall, I think.
Yeah, but the same was true with Fred, and Fred is one of our physical players and aggressive players. But anyway, I'm not only talking about this specific moment. Also in quite a few other moments, I just felt that we could have been more dynamic, more physical, more aggressive, but we weren't in those moments.
Doesn't that come down, doesn't the physical element though, and the appetite, doesn't that come down to mindset and character? That desire to push and go and fight and...
But it also has to be a little bit in the DNA of a player, to be honest. I mean, it's difficult to change a, what shall I say, technical, filigrane player into a physical, aggressive player. And I think we have a lot of, as you quite rightly said, technical players. So on a day where our game is fluid, where we are in our rhythm, and we've shown that in the past, then we can also outplay other teams. But today it was difficult. Leicester was aggressive. They were physical. In many parts of the game, we had problems with that. But as I said, it is as it is, and it's difficult to change. I don't think it's got to do with mindset. It's got to do with the DNA of players.
But, I mean, like, being technical and being physical in different ways, they're not mutually exclusive. I mean, you look at, say, Bernardo Silva at Manchester City, technically wonderful footballer, but his appetite and his application and his desire, in addition to his awareness, is second to none. So, do you think that that DNA-wise, there are too many players in this team lacking some sort of key traits?
Yeah, but I think also then I have to defend a little bit my players again. Both the teams of Manchester City and Liverpool. I also watched the Liverpool game today. They were not outstanding. They also had problems to find their rhythm, but in the end they still won 2-0 quite comfortably, although Watford had 2 chances to score themselves. But those 2 teams have been built together and recruited over a period of 5-6 years. All of them under the premises of how do the 2 coaches want to play. And I think we spoke about that already yesterday in our press conference. And this is what has to happen. That far I can go right now. And I told the board already that this is what has to happen. Whenever the new head coach and manager is clear, it has to be congruent to how does the manager want to play and what kind of players do we need for that. And then again, we come back to DNA, physicality, speed, tempo, what do we need? And I think this team does not lack technical players. I think we can do with more physicality.
Okay, guys, thank you.
I have a question for you. We all know that you took Leipzig from the 4th tier of German football to the Champions League. You did with Schalke also something magnificent. Semi-final of the Champions League 11 years ago. Where would you, in terms of how difficult the task is to revive, we all know Manchester United is one of the greatest clubs in the world. In terms of reviving the sleeping giant, is it harder than the feats that you achieved with the German club?
I think it's different. It's a completely different project. Leipzig, as you said, we started on level 4. Schalke, when I came to Schalke for the first time, they were 17th in the league. I think we also spoke about that yesterday. It takes right decisions, knowing where do you want to go to, what kind of manager, what kind of players do we need for that, and then in every transfer window try to get the best possible players for that. And this is possible. This is not rocket science. It's just it needs to be done, and it has to be done. And if that happens, it does not necessarily need 3 or 4 years for that. Maybe 2 or 3 transfer windows. Then the situation could be different.
Okay, guys, thank you.